I've done over 200 deals on the island of Puerto Rico worth tens of millions of dollars. And in my opinion, these are the top 5 cities that we might see housing prices go down in 2025. Number 1, San Juan. Here's why it could crash. As of May 2025, the median home price in San Juan has already started to come down over 11% year over year. We're seeing inventory rising fast, and properties are sitting longer on the market. Everybody knows that insurance prices have climbed post-hurricane rezoning. Recently, we've got a penthouse condo in Miramar, Puerto Rico, which is San Juan. It's a beautiful part of town, and this property's been sitting on the market. We've renovated it really nice. We put it on the market for about $350. We're selling it right now for just under $320. So we had to drop our price and get it down there so that it would sell. It sat on the market for a long, long time, and it wouldn't have sat just a few years ago. Guys, I don't think we've gotten to the point where it's crashed so much that I need to change strategies. I can still sell this as a flip, and we're gonna make some money, but it's definitely something that I'm keeping my eye on, and as I'm gonna move forward, I'm gonna be looking to buy at a little better price. So here's what happens when the retail market sort of starts to go down, and 11% is sort of a big deal, then the wholesale market should go way down, and we're going to be buying things cheaper. Remember, as real estate investors, you make your money when you buy. If we've got some things that we've already bought that we maybe paid too much for now, I don't think we're even close to that, but let's say we did, then we might have to shift gears and keep them as rental properties. So for us, that's not a very big deal. We like the monthly recurring revenue that you get through rents. Remember, rental income on the island of Puerto Rico, as long as it's long-term housing, is tax-free. So that's an easy move for us. And in fact, that would be something that we would do if we see these price corrections continue to drop quickly. Otherwise, you just lower the price, you get beneath it, you sell it, and you move on. It should mean that the next one we buy, we're going to get a better deal on. Number 2, Palmus del Mar, Gringo Land. Here's why Palmus del Mar could crash. The median home prices in Palmus are down just under 2%, about 1.7, 1.8% year over year. We're seeing houses sitting on the market on average for at least a little over 100 days, 112, 115 days on market. That's a lot longer than last year. And guys, in areas like Palmus, you have high HOA fees, and they're going to continue to rise. Even as property values start to come down, this could put continued downward pressure on the market. We're also seeing more houses on the market, less people moving to the island that want to buy that type of housing as well. And if you stay tuned to one of our next ones, which is really, really Gringo Land, we're going to talk about some serious downward pressure on that high-end stuff. And even outside of the resort economy there in Palmus del Mar, the local towns of Humacao and surrounding, they don't have a huge economy. So the local areas are weak as it is. Number 3, Rincon, one of my favorite places on the island of Puerto Rico. Here's why it could crash. Flood risk is growing. There's a lot of erosion on the shore down there on the west side of the island. That is a negative for sure. We're also seeing less people moving to Rincon than we have been for the past few years. Not to mention, there's massive backlash against short-term rentals. So the short-term rentals drive the prices up, but what we're seeing is that that's not super popular. And I have firsthand experience with that, knowing that in Rincon, year over year, we've seen about a 55% increase in Airbnbs. We have too many Airbnbs on the market. We went from about 750 doors on the market last year to over 1,150 doors this year. And it's driving the nightly rate down, and it's making it harder to make money on those Airbnb properties. So that naturally is going to mean that property values are also going to start to come down in the very near future. The fact that renovation costs are just through the roof, and that's island-wide, it's really nationwide. Ever since COVID and the big flu, we've seen this massive inflation, but when you're in a part of the island where it's harder to get materials anyways, renovation costs, they get affected, and they get affected mightily. So in this area, the market relies heavily on tourism and expat dollars, and we're seeing less of the deep pocket Act 60 guys, the crypto bros coming to the island. Maybe it'll pick back up if the crypto stuff comes back up. But right now, we're just seeing less of that than we were through the last few years after the flu. Well, number 4, talked about this earlier, Dorado Beach East. I mean, this is really, really Gringo Land. This is where the billionaires are pushing out the millionaires, and we've seen prices just absolutely moonshot. Ever since I came to the island, when I first arrived on the island, the most expensive house on the entire island was in Dorado Beach East, and it had recently sold for about $14 million. Well, that was almost 8 years ago now, and what we've seen is everything in the damn neighborhood there has skyrocketed. And so it's regular that you would see houses sell for $15 and $20 million. And the highest priced house on the market sold, I think last year, for like $44 million. Wow, who can afford to live in those kind of houses? I love it. I want to meet those guys. I've heard that they're going to be putting the house back on the market. And the reason that I have this one on the list is that I'm certain that they're not going to be getting more than what they paid for the house. So it's very, very likely that they're going to be selling that $40 million house for somewhere down into the 30s. Like, gosh, they're going to have to give it away, you know? So on top of that, other reasons why I think that it could crash is that we have, like I said, just seen this massive rise in value. In fact, even this year, year over year, we saw a 25% increase in the median home price in Dorado Beach. And with property prices, you know, on the median exceeding almost $2.5 million, I think there's a better chance that things are going to start to come back to earth than that they're going to continue to moonshot. And this market is completely driven by Act 60 buyers and all cash deals. So the banks aren't lending on anything out there. This is the super, super high-end stuff. And anytime you start to see hiccups in the United States, it immediately, or it very shortly after, will affect the island of Puerto Rico. So maybe there's a 1 to 2 year lag, but we've already seen things going down pretty rapidly stateside. So it's likely that we're going to start to feel it on the island of Puerto Rico. And where you're going to feel it first, I think, is in that super high-end stuff, especially since there aren't as many people with the deep pockets moving to the island as there were just a few years ago. There's even talk that they're going to adjust the way that Act 60 works, and anything that changes the tax laws will probably decrease the amount of people that are coming from the states to the island of Puerto Rico. So as they make changes to Act 60 and they make it less attractive, you're going to see less people with the deep pockets coming in. You're going to see this high-end stuff come back to earth. And we're already seeing the homes sit a little bit longer as the average days on market has started to creep up. It's getting pretty close to 100 days on market. And obviously, guys, we're talking about a part of the island that's just completely unattainable for most of the local population. Number 5, Rio Grande. Here's why I think it could crash. This is a resort-heavy community, and it's completely reliant on tourism. And we're seeing some of these high-end properties sitting months and months on market. It just has the feeling of being a bit overpriced. And certainly there is the same thing that we have like in Rincon with this short-term market saturation. So this is a beautiful part of the island. I really love it out there. I haven't ever invested in Rio Grande. I kind of missed the boat there. There was a time where we could have picked some things up and we would have done really well on them. Right now, I'm going to be in a wait and see mode and see if some of this stuff, again, starts to fall back down a little bit. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but when we see the retail price start to come down, what that generally does for people like me that are buying at a wholesale level is the wholesale level will come down a lot faster. So when you're a real estate investor, you make your money when you buy. We're a real estate investing channel, so I just want to give you that little nugget, guys. You make your money when you buy. And buying right now, when it's the top of the market and you've got saturation and you're seeing things wait on the market a little bit longer. Guys, there's deals in every market, but just be careful and make sure that you're buying it right. And so, guys, even though I'm talking about this list and I'm putting out there really great parts of the island, I do not dislike any of these towns. I just think that there's better bang for your buck elsewhere on the island. I think that there's a big need that real estate investors can solve with this housing shortage, and investing in multi-million-dollar properties to list on Airbnb, that's just not my preferred way to invest. And even if it was, I would still think that there's more downward pressure than there is upside right now. So you guys do with that what you want. I'm not dissing on Dorado or Rincon. In fact, I love them. They're great. Rio Grande's awesome. I'm not dissing on any of these places that I have on the list. I just think there's more downward pressure than there is upward pressure. So give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.